In today's video, we're talking about the hack that could fry your PS5, Sony's confusing new partner, and how they're finally pushing their coolest hardware.
Snake, are you okay? Snake?
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the weekend video here on PSReady. I have deja vu right now because I actually filmed this video yesterday and found out after I filmed it that the audio did not record. So I figured I would just save it and talk to Ray about it for the weekend because they were some pretty cool topics. How's it going, Ray?
Yeah, now you got me. That's the difference. That's the difference. You're gonna upload this video and it's gonna be like your worst video ever. Like no one watches it and everyone's like, damn.
No, give us lots of likes. Give us a good weekend to play the games. I'm playing Armored Core and it's awesome. The first thing, Ray, I want to talk about today is there's a hack you can do to Spider-Man that lets you roam the open world as Venom, free roam, use all the Venom attacks, and you can make a save that you can load whenever you want where you'll permanently be Venom, but it's really bad for your PS5 to activate this hack. Have you seen how you do it?
I've seen how you do it, yes. Like once you like break out and you're doing that level, right? There's a way you can break out to the streets of New York and just free roam. But when you say it's really bad for your PS5, how bad for your PS5? Is it like, does it start like when you make the save file, or does it start immediately like once you break out of that level?
The way you do it is it's when you get to the cutscene at the end of the mission where you're switching from Venom back to Peter, then you unplug your PS5, right? And if it doesn't work, you've got to redo all this, get back to that point, do the mission, unplug your PS5. And there's actually like, that's not good for your console to unplug it from the back every time and repeatedly like that. I thought this was like a, a dad myth, but my dad flipped the breaker down here earlier this week. He was trying to get the oven upstairs so we could route a plug, and he got the one for my desk and it fried my computer. So that's great. It could happen to you if you do this Venom glitch, but once you do that, you plug it back in, you open it back up, then you get out of that mission, play as Peter, and then go do any side mission. So like a Sandman fight or like any of those side missions, there's a million of them. Once you start that mission, you will be Venom, and then you just make a save, and then you can play the whole open world as Venom, which is honestly cool. I don't know if it's worth it, right? Tony Todd said that he recorded 90% more dialogue than they used in Spider-Man 2. So clearly that hit the cutting room floor. They're probably saving it for a DLC or like a Miles Morales style game because I don't know. There's a lot of potential with Venom there. They built out his whole skill set. They gave him a full set of moves that you only get to use for one level.
And I mean, yeah, it's such an awesome moment when you get to play as Venom because you feel his overwhelming strength. He's just like ground pounding, he's like hitting the back breaker on dudes, so his skill set is awesome. I see your face, you're like, wait, feeling his strength, you're like, is this another like 19 inches of Venom comment like we're going to? I'm trying, you're like, is this another pause moment? I think there is enough time like as Black Suit Peter and then eventually when you get the anti-Venom powers to where it feels like, I mean, you still have access to those symbiote powers, so it's not something that I'd want to break my PS5 over, but it would be fun to have like a secret mode or like, bring back cheat codes or something like up, down, triangle, circle, XX, and like you can play as Venom or something like that. It'd be cool if they like baked it into the game like that, or you replay mission replayability. You just play that mission again, or you pick it from the chapters and you get to play as Venom again. I don't know, without frying your PS5 because damn, that would suck.
Yeah, whenever I think of stuff like this where it's like, oh, it'd be really cool if they added in a way to play as Venom when they already clearly have the ability to allow Venom to run around the entire map. I get like war flashbacks to that Bungie speech that was at GDC where the guy was like, yeah, we look back at our history with expansions like Forsaken where people really love them, and what I realized is we set expectations too high, so now you never want to do that. You just want to be good enough. And I was like, damn, that's brutal. So it seems like that might be what happened with Spider-Man 2. They just wanted to be good enough. You get the single level as Venom, you get a little bit of him in the story, and then they can save him for something new they can sell for 50 bucks in a year or two.
It's more about like Venom versus the person inside of him, right? And I think they did a good job with like, oh no, he's losing himself. Oh my gosh, Venom is taking over, he's not himself anymore. I don't want to give too many spoilers for anyone who hasn't beaten it yet, but chances are if you're watching this channel, you played Spider-Man and you've beaten it, this newest one. But You never know nowadays. You never know.
I mean, chances are extremely high because I think like out of 4 million people who beat it, which is a big number of people who played it, like 1 or 2 million of people got the platinum. So like a lot of people are 100%ing this game. I mean, it's crazy. That's good. That's what you want, right? You want to have a high attach rate, high completion rate. You like, it's fun when you look at people's achievements and you're like, why are you talking about this game? You don't even have the first trophy. I have like the first trophy in Armored Core for beating the first boss. And if you want to see how to be an ultimate gamer, beat the first boss in Armored Core, because you'll be one of like 97% of people who did it.
That was the same thing with Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Like, everyone in the reviews is like, the first boss is way too hard. Like, I mean, yeah, but once you got past it, it was pretty fun.
This video is sponsored by Newegg and Next Storage. Whether you've had a PS5 for a while or you just got a brand new PS5 Slim on Black Friday, you're going to want to buy. Like, the first accessory you're going to want is an SSD upgrade for your console. Games are getting huge, and luckily the PS5 has a nice handy NVMe slot, and that's where today's sponsor comes into play. There's a lot to love about these drives too. First of all, they have the heatsink already attached, so you don't have to worry about doing anything like that yourself. No matter what, you get this drive, you pop it in your PS5, you're good. They also have a 6,000 megabit per second read and write speed, so you're going to be transferring, downloading, and saving footage to your PS5 so much faster than you were before. And did I mention their price model is completely insane? When you're ready to check these out, and you definitely should, head down to the link in the description. Once again, huge shout out to Next Storage and Newegg for sponsoring this video. So this next story I want to talk about is Sony's weird partnership with NCSoft. If you didn't know, NCSoft are the people over in South Korea, I think, that make the game Guild Wars, which I've heard is a pretty good MMO.
It's definitely one of the better MMOs out there, 100%, I would say.
Yeah. Under this partnership, they're going to make mobile games together, which, like, oh my god. All right, cool. So Jim Ryan said, partnering with NCSoft advances our strategy to expand beyond console and broaden PlayStation's reach to a wider audience. Which I get it. Okay, I get why everyone wants to do mobile. We have GPUs and phones now. Like, I feel like this wave of mobile game announcements last year was because Apple maybe tipped off Sony and Microsoft and all these people that they were going to have GPUs in their phones, right? Which is cool. We have gotten games like Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil Village so far, and they don't run good on the iPhone, but it's cool to have them there, and you can see why Sony might want to get something spun up. But I just think back to this quote from Jim Ryan that was from over a year ago, where he said by the end of 2024 60% of our games that we release will have been on mobile, and they've released one game since then, which is like a Wipeout remake that's not good. So clearly something's going wrong behind the scenes. The company that they bought, Savage Studios, the founders left that studio. The studio's renamed. They say they've hit a milestone recently, but like, there's just nothing materializing with mobile here. So to see them double down on it with NCSoft, that's kind of just like not the direction I want them to go in. Same thing with live service. It's like, why are you doing this when clearly your customers want you to do something else? And the other game that NCSoft is working on with them is a Horizon MMO, right? So that seems like something cool that could be with PC.
I think that will be, I mean, you have to release it on PC if you're gonna make an MMO, right? Like, that's just that's where the MMO audience is, the majority of them. You know, like, we see games like Elder Scrolls Online that started out on PC, but they went on to have a healthy console population. And it's not cross-platform, so like, everyone who plays that game on PlayStation and Xbox, those are separate audiences, and they still manage to thrive. So yeah, I'm interested to see like where the MMO is gonna end up, especially attaching it to an established IP like Horizon. I know you're kind of like a Horizon hater, and like not like so bad, but you're like, they keep banking on Horizon and it's not really like blowing up.
It's not panning out, right? Yeah. Like the VR game, whatever, and then Forbidden West. I mean, people like it. Obviously, it sells well enough, but yeah. It's not something people talk about, right? Like Spider-Man made a dent. People talk about that. Yeah. It's more like Forza. It's on the level of like Forza Motorsport of hype, I would say, where, you know.
But going back to the mobile stuff, it's like everyone's trying to get in on it, right? And I feel like this is an interesting response on Sony's part, or Sony Interactive Entertainment, especially because Microsoft just bought Activision Blizzard, which also includes King, the makers of Candy Crush. And not outside of the King, we see Activision Blizzard, especially from this past BlizzCon, they're still like working on Diablo Immortal. They're still working on Warcraft Rumble is the newest like a mobile game from them too. And from their perspective, Xbox wants to do that because they're like, oh crap, we're not selling as many consoles. Let's try to reach like a bigger audience. There's a huge audience for mobile games, especially in certain markets. Console gaming is not really the focus. People play games on their phone, so they're like, let's try to reach those guys, make money off of them. So this partnership doesn't really surprise me.
I just don't understand why Sony feels the need to partner with a different developer when they make the best games already. Like, you already have this pipeline of incredible developers pushing out awesome games, and you're just going to divert money that could be spent on new awesome single-player open-world adventure games, and you're going to be like, oh, we'll test out a few mobile games and see if any of those hit. And the reason they want to do that is because they can be microtransaction slot machines, and you know, they'll get ripped for it here in the United States, but in other countries people love dumping money into that stuff. And they say that it's going to fund, you know, these bigger single-player games that we like here, but we've seen it a million times where a studio like Bungie had a great thing going with Halo, where they had a great single player campaign component, and then they had a great multiplayer component. And then they have Destiny, and what have they made since then? Just repeated Destiny over and over again to the point where it's almost killed their studio. So
it's an interesting kind of shift, because I feel like PlayStation, Sony, they've mostly stuck to their guns when it comes to what made them successful in the first place. Cranking out these story-driven, third-person action-adventure games. And for a while, I was like, oh, they're like really sticking to their guns, and that's cool, because we start to see these other people, oh, we're gonna do live service stuff, oh, we're gonna, you know, have seasons in our games, it's gonna all be about battle passes, oh, we're gonna go into mobile gaming. But now it feels like Sony is like, oh, maybe we should try some of that stuff. Let's try to make factions, multiplayer The Last of Us, and then, oh no, we're not gonna make that. It almost makes me want, it's like, instead of like trying it and canceling it, well, I don't know. It kind of, I want to see maybe them release something like that just to see it. And if it's bad, it's bad. At least they will know. But so far, it's like they're trying something and then canceling it before we can actually see it.
Could be cool, could not be. But one thing that I am excited to see Sony marketing again at all is the PSVR 2. Have you seen this new trailer commercial that they put up where it's like a cool fighter pilot? They're not showing off specific games. They're just showing off what you could do with VR, which I think is smart, because that's the biggest hurdle, right? Like, seeing is believing with VR, and until you see it, you're not going to believe in it. And now they have games coming out, like Resident Evil 4's VR mode is coming out very soon, and it looks awesome. Like, I will definitely play Resident Evil 4 in VR on PS5 with that awesome headset. But yeah, what do you think of this?
The VR, like you're saying, is definitely hard to market for. I remember when you did your video on the PSVR 2 and we were messing around with it, it's like you kind of just like, trust me bro, is the source, right? It's like, oh, I have the headset on, oh, this is really cool, but you as a viewer, you can't experience that, right? Because you're not seeing what Jim is seeing when he has the VR headset on. So it's tough, man. It's challenging, and I will say it was like pretty nice when I got to try it out too. I do have a couple of questions about this trailer though. It's like, you know, in the middle of this, it seems to be kind of they're showing or teasing, because it's not actual gameplay, like Horizon climbing up a long neck. I have questions about like these other games that are being shown off or teased or whatever, like that spaceship in the beginning. I'm like, what is that? Like, cause that's pretty cool. And it's also kind of interesting because they're like, oh, we got like a Dead Space, Starfield kind of thing going on too over here. What I want to know more about that, and I wonder if, I'm sure we're gonna see a bunch of theories and kind of like, oh, well, if you pause it at this is actually a nod to like blah blah blah, like Returnal, and then you're like, okay. But I'm interested in that, and like when they release a trailer, it's like, oh, that is catching my eye in some way. A PlayStation trailer is the only trailer for a game that caught my wife Haley's eye. Like, we were at a bar, I remember, and they were teasing Horizon Forbidden West, and they were like, only on PlayStation. And for the first time ever, she was like, what is that game? I was like, oh shoot, like, yeah, that's the new Horizon game, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so usually I feel like they do a pretty good job. They just like sometimes you're like, where is the marketing for it? But when they do, it is interesting and engaging.
I agree. I really wish people would give the PSVR a shot, just because between that and the Oculus Quest 2, I think it is awesome. Of course, the Quest 3 is different now, where it has AR and people really like that. And there was an announcement today that Valve has a partnership finally with Oculus, where you can wirelessly stream your what are they? Your Steam game, your Steam VR games to your Oculus headset, which that actually works, unlike the other devices out there like the iPhone and everything. Like, it's pretty one-to-one seamless with the Oculus streaming, so that's pretty cool. Clearly there's a market for VR, it's just niche, and then the pricing is what throws everything out of whack. But hopefully they can start getting more new games out that aren't ports of other games from older VR headsets and other things like that. But I think Resident Evil 4 is going to go a long way in getting people to check this out.
But they made a mistake. They were like, when they, like we were just talking about, when they were discussing, oh, what kind of flagship IP should we attach to the PSVR 2?
Yep, they go with
Horizon? Dude, Spider-Man. Like, you make a Spider-Man VR experience, like, people will come running, busting down the doors to experience a VR perspective of Spider-Man swinging around New York. Like, that easy money.
That's all it needs
to be. That's what they should have done.
It's just the web swinging. Well, maybe we'll see something from that at the Game Awards. That's all I've got this week for you guys. Make sure you let us know what you think down in the comments below. Remember to subscribe, set your notifications to all if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.